This is tax time, so our next story will likely resonate with many of you. You may recall when senior investigative correspondent Diana Swain revealed that wealthy Canadians were using secret Swiss bank accounts. The government promised a crackdown on any tax cheats, except now there's a big twist. Diana has all the latest developments.
While millions of Canadians like Ted and Nancy Dunlop get ready to file their tax returns and pay what they owe,
I think it's a civic responsibility to pay taxes.
the federal government is finding it a lot easier to get money from you than from some of this country's wealthiest citizens. 2 years ago, Ottawa learned hundreds of Canadians held accounts at this private bank in Geneva. While that's not illegal, Canada Revenue Agency believes many of the Swiss bank accounts were being used to evade Canadian taxes, which is illegal. Canadians found out about the accounts from this man, Hervé Falciani. We found him hiding out in France after he copied the information on thousands of HSBC accounts and offered the list to governments around the world.
A huge industry is made just to go around rules that we can't go around as simple citizens. That's the problem.
Prime Minister Harper insisted tax evaders would be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Mr. Speaker, this government will continue to go aggressively after tax evaders.
But 2 years later, that's turning out to be easier said than done. And some account holders are trying to turn the tables on Ottawa. A court challenge has been filed alleging the list was illegally obtained, so it can't be used. And incredibly, it argues the Prime Minister's tough words were too tough. That because he suggested in the House of Commons there could be criminal prosecutions, account holders don't have to give CRA any information that could incriminate them, which would violate their charter rights. Nicolas Simard is a Quebec lawyer representing some people on the list.
Canadians who have held those bank accounts are at risk of potentially going to prison unless Stephen Harper comes forward and clears out the whole issue as to whether or not the intention of the government is to do a civil tax audit or to go on the criminal side and prosecute those Canadians.
CRA wouldn't comment directly on the court challenge, but in a statement insists the list was legally obtained through an international tax treaty. But Liberal Senator Percy Down accuses CRA of focusing on low-hanging fruit, regular Canadians who can't afford expensive lawyers.
Those that have accounts overseas, that have accountants and lawyers to defend them, millions of dollars in the bank, are getting a tax holiday from this government.
So what's the government saying about this now?
National Revenue Minister Gail Shea's office late today said they dismiss that. They say that this government has been more successful in cracking down on tax cheats than the previous Liberal government. They point to 19 agreements signed in the past 2 years with countries around the world to try to get rid of these tax schemes. And they say that since this list came out, 84 Canadians have anteed up through voluntary disclosure, $18 million in unpaid taxes. But it's worth noting there were 1,700 Canadian accounts on that list, which is why the outcome of this case could be so pivotal. The stakes are very high, and it could show how difficult it could be for Ottawa to get at any more of that tax money.
All right. Diana, thanks very much.